Ghanatube, so I was in formatting CD and not just saying some. I would be a person or my Ghana and Pano. Ye bubble room near Rockety and sending me say a bar, not near Cowan media twice or Eddie amount.
Well, first, business story. Inflation rate for the month of August has slowed further to reach record level. Data released by the Statistical Service today showed that it slowed marginally from 12.1% in July to hit 11.5% last month. The decline, according to the Statistical Service, was influenced the general price levels of some food items declining from July to August this year. The 11.5% decline in the month of August 2025 is the lowest the country has recorded since October 2021. Dr. Alhassan Idrisu is the government statistician.
Data show inflation is falling steadily. Prices rose by 11.5% in August 2025, down from 12.1% in July. And as I mentioned earlier, this is the lowest inflation rate we've seen in almost 4 years, and it marks the 8th month in a row of decline. Overall prices actually fell by 1.3% between July and August 2025, meaning that there's some relief for households once inflation is coming down, and also once prices fell between July and August. Food prices are also easing. Food inflation is now 14.8%, and non-food prices fell by 2.5% in 1 month. Non-food prices are also moderating. Non-food inflation declined to 8.7% from 9.5% in July. And here, prices of non-food items reduced slightly by 0.1% between July and August. Goods inflation slowed too. Inflation for goods dropped to 13.9% from 14.2% in July. And here, the overall prices of goods fell by 1.6% between July and August 2025. Inflation, as we've seen, is higher for local items than for imports, while imported prices are easing faster thanks to stronger exchange rate and the lower global cost pressures.
Now let's get on to Zoom and speak to economist Professor Peter Quartey on the inflation numbers. Welcome to the Marketplace, Prof. Now, how do you assess the latest inflation figures for August 2025?
Well, good afternoon to your discerning viewers. I think it's much expected, given that we are under an IMF stabilization program, and then also looking at the fundamentals so far. I think the program that has started last year and beyond has caused quite an improvement. So the stabilization program that is being pursued over the past couple of years, and also as anchored by government consistently, is helping ease the inflation. I must say that food inflation is still not at the level that's expected. We are seeing much more significant decline in non-food inflation than food inflation. So it just points to the policymakers to look deeply, take a deep dive into the areas where we can improve food production, food supply, so we're able to reduce food inflation significantly. But I must say, from where we have come from, where in December food inflation was around 23.8%, and currently we are having 11.5% rate of inflation, is quite encouraging. And then the data released by Statistical Service is also very rich. It tells you the products that you will find higher inflation: coconut, watermelon, cashew, avocado, ginger, palm nuts, apple. These are the high inflation commodities that locally cause inflation.
Great. Prof.
So we can look at that carefully.
Okay, you touched on the food inflation. Now, the data that was released highlight food and transport costs as the main drivers. Does that surprise you in any way?
It doesn't, in the sense that, I mean, if we all go to the market, we all hear our traders, we all hear our mothers, we hear our sisters, and those of us who go to the market as well, we see that food prices continue to be high, although there is some marginal decline. We've seen all the appeal to market movement to even reduce reduce food prices. So it doesn't surprise me. Then with transport, transport fares, we've seen some marginal increases in transport fares over time, and we think these are all cost to the consumer, to the average Ghanaian. But I must say, it's still much better than what we used to see. The IMF started stabilization program, and also in domestic policies and also external factors have gradually helped to ease the challenges we used to face or we're facing.
Great. It seems government has already achieved its end-of-year inflation target ahead of schedule. What measures are needed to consolidate and sustain this progress?
I think the fiscal discipline is very important. We need to remain focused, because oftentimes it is the last 3 months of the year that we see some level of indiscipline in our fiscal numbers. During the last 3 months that we see increased demand for Christmas items, increased demand for imports, increased expenditure, and that drives inflation. So we still have to maintain the stability, fiscal prudence, stability as we have started, and also ensure that the exchange rate remains stable. There's a marginal depreciation, but that is to be expected. We're hoping that we will maintain some stability till the end of the year.
Well, finally, looking ahead, what risk could threaten the current slowdown in inflation? What policy action should government and the Bank of Ghana prioritize to maintain stability into next year?
We are vulnerable. I mean, any commodity price shocks can hit us significantly. For instance, crude oil prices, touch wood, or God forbid, if any country, any of the oil exporting countries start fight, or should US pursue some policy that might affect oil prices globally, that would affect us significantly. So that external factor is very important. Commodity prices, especially oil, is critical in our inflation measures. Then the exchange rate. If we are not able to maintain a stable exchange rate regime, and the current depreciation escalates, then we are likely to face major problems with our inflation. Food production, I think so far, I mean, it's been planted from now to December. People have invested already, farmers have invested and planted the crops, and some are harvesting. So that may not be a major factor unless there is some fire hazard or unforeseen circumstances. Otherwise, I think we are not likely to face any higher inflation from now to December.
We appreciate your time here on the Marketplace, Professor Peter Quartey, for speaking to us here on the Marketplace. Now,
I was here for me now, as I mudi mechi, equity in some air coso, or mangani, way dear, me the movie, and so many major comments, no. Emma me our comment section. That would dream Ewan sending now no for our comments in the Ebra and Magic Bread. I can kind. Ama fefe make I will be set channel way Ghanatube. So don't forget to subscribe, hit on the notification bell, share and like all our videos. I was here for snowy day. Sisi dear, Macramo.